So, what is No Man's Sky? A lot of people hate it. A lot more people don't know what it is, don't care. And a lot of people haven't given it a shot, for rightly so. The company, Hello Games, really kind of screwed the ball on the one when they announced the game, when they let it go, when they released it. And I think that a lot of expectations weren't met, and a lot of promises were made, and a lot of hype was built up around this game for no real reason. And I think that was kind of sad. If they had released this game back in 2016 as an early access and been upfront with them, saying, everybody's saying, hey, look, this game's a shell of what it's going to be, and you know, we got a lot of development to go, but we hope to get there soon with feedback from the community. Instead, they were kind of mysterious about the whole release process and released a game that, while it was interesting to play for a few hours, it didn't have a whole lot of depth to it. And but since then, for the past 2 years, they've done a lot of work. And in the background, you can kind of see what's going on here. I was playing a mission that they've added, and I was looking for a guy named Atlas with the guidance of some dude named Apollo. And this is the mission that they kind of set me on. Here I find some warp cells, and if you've played the game, you know that warp cells are your ticket to the next solar system over. Super important, and kind of a pain in the butt to craft if you have to find all the resources to do it yourself. So I was pretty happy to find some of those. But the point of this video is to kind of talk about No Man's Sky before it came out, and you know, all the hype that it came up with, and then the game that it is today, and then what's coming out on Tuesday, which is the 24th of July 2018. It's the next update, which is called Next, I believe. And Next is going to make this game kind of get up to the point where it should have been in 2016 when they released it, or should have been when they released the game at all, had they managed expectations. So previously, the game, when it first launched, didn't have any sort of guidance for you whatsoever. You kind of just were stuck in a galaxy, which in itself isn't bad. They actually said that a lot in the talking before it was released, saying, like, you know, the game isn't going to have anything going on to tell you what to do. You're kind of just on your own, and I thought that was a good choice. I'm a big fan of Elite Dangerous, and if you've ever seen any gameplay footage of that, you know that it really doesn't hold your hand, especially in the early days. It does a little bit more now, but it really doesn't hold your hand, and it kind of just sets you free in this galaxy, and you have to hope that you can find your way through it. So No Man's Sky kind of did the same thing, but because of the way the game was marketed and the people that bought the game, I think that a lot of people didn't know that that's what they were getting into, and that was one of the reasons why it was such a negatively received. And I'm not advocating the game at that point, I'm not condoning what they did, but that is kind of the reality of what happened. So, you know, fast forward 2 years, they've released a couple of updates. Now there's a little bit of a storyline, which is what I'm running through right now. I'm playing through the storyline. And there's some missions that you can do from the star posts, and all those things kind of make it more accessible. You don't have to just wander around and hope to find something cool. You can kind of be guided to find things that are neat. Like this whole system, that intro scene that was shown before I started talking, is my first portal that I've found on a planet, and the only reason I found it was because it was through the mission system. It wasn't anything else. So at this point in the game, I'm kind of looking for my ship, because I've been sent to a new planet, which is weird. I don't really get why I was sent to a new planet. I don't get why my ship was there, but whatever, I'll just take it for face value. So the update that's coming out in a couple of days focuses on multiplayer, which is something that was kind of mentioned in the beginning before the game was released. But Sean Murray explicitly said, and he's the founder of Hello Games, he's explicitly said that the game wouldn't have true multiplayer. He said that you could potentially run into somebody on another planet, but with whatever 14 quintillion planets there is, he said it was very unlikely. And it all came to a head after the game released. Like, I think it was on the first day, 2 streamers realized they were in the same system at the same time, and they tried to meet up on a planet, and they weren't able to find each other. And the reason for this was there was no player model. Basically, you're just a camera floating around at this point, the current build of the game. And so this new update is supposed to fix that. And a couple of other things. It's supposed to be graphically, it's supposed to do some fixes. You can kind of see the graphics of the game right now. This is pretty much the best you're going to get. I've been to 40-something planets and never seen anything like they showed in their trailers and stuff like that with the green grassy worlds and the cool dinosaur creatures. Most of the creatures you see are pretty derpy and like dysfunctional. Like look at the guys in the background; they don't even make sense. But I think that's kind of the fun of the game. You kind of never know what you're going to get. And when you do find something that is something recognizable and relatable, you know, like I found a crab, and the crab actually looked like a real crab, and I thought that was pretty nifty. But you know, the game still has its faults and its problems. So this new update, hopefully, you know, will right some of the wrongs. I'm hoping to try it with people to see how multiplayer actually works. Looks like it's going to be kind of like a 4-person co-op experience. If you've ever played Borderlands, it looks something like that, where a person can join your world. I'm guessing that it's not going to be like a shared world where we can run into other people. My guess is like one person hosts the game on their own personal PC as a server, and then, you know, but you know, we'll see. It could actually be a shared world, massively multiplayer, but I find that hard to believe. That's just especially considering how small this studio is, I can't imagine them paying for server space. It's my dog. But you know, so some of the things to stay focused on with this game is currently there's still quite a lot of harvesting resources, mining. I mean, you spend, for every time you jump to a new planet, you got to recharge your hyperdrive, you got to recharge your thrust launchers or whatever, you got to recharge if you get in combat, all of your guns, and then you get out of your ship and you're going around trying to get all these materials to recharge your ship, and the whole time you're having to recharge materials for your exosuit because you're on some planet that's hostile. This is a pretty temperate planet, but if you look at the bottom left down there, it says 14.2 tox and 0.5 raid, which I'm assuming is radiation and toxicity, and the little bar with the life beat meter, or heartbeat meter on top of it, life beat, yeah, right, is slowly going down. And this planet isn't as bad as some of the other ones. Some of them you can only stand on the surface for a couple of seconds before you start taking damage. So you're constantly having to recharge these systems, and if that's not something you're into, if you rather just run and gun, this game definitely doesn't cater to that. But kind of my thought process behind that is the game needs a way to engage you outside of just walking across the planet. If you just had to walk across the planet, you'd get bored pretty quick. Elite Dangerous does something similar in that when you're on a planet surface, I mean, you're on a moon. Let's be real. It'd be cool to go to the moon, but after an hour of driving across the desert, you would see the same thing over and over and over again. It's just the reality of it. There's nothing up there. So to kind of break up the monotony, they let you mine for resources that you can use to craft things, and No Man's Sky does something similar. However, in No Man's Sky, you're definitely more focused on getting these resources than you are in Elite Dangerous. Elite Dangerous is kind of like a side thing, whereas No Man's Sky, it's kind of like a focus. So, you know, be that as it may, I don't see that changing. That's kind of like the core point of the game. But even through with having to mine for resources all the time, if you kind of do it along the way and you set goals for yourself, or if you're trying to complete a mission and you're mining these resources as you go, you can stay pretty engaged. They've added some, like I just showed there, they just added exocrafts, which are like basically Land Rovers, and they can let you cover a lot more ground a lot more quickly, and they're really fun to use actually. I've only ever, in the main game, I've only ever unlocked the base one. I haven't unlocked the other two, the bigger ones, but they're still a lot of fun to drive around, and they can help you carry more resources, which is always nice, because resource management is basically the crux of this game. If you hate managing resources, you're going to hate the game. If you like managing resources, it's pretty fun. If you've ever played a game like 7 Days to Die or any other survival game, this has some of the elements of that with the space exploration tacked on side of it. So some of the positives this game has that I think a lot of people overlook are just the massive scale of it. I mean, yes, I get it. It's procedural. They wrote code to basically write out all these images and everything like that. But every starship, when you're flying in space, like those starships flying overhead now, they all have. Someone had to design those, and they're all in the game. And you know, whether they're all just a shell of the same exact flight model and the same exact flight mechanics and fighting mechanics, they all are somewhat different in their own way, which is kind of cool. I don't show it in this walkthrough here, but you can run across some ships that are orbiting like the planets and freighters, and you can actually buy freighters now. And according to the new update, you're supposed to be able to buy fleets of freighters, which I don't know what you would do with a fleet of freighters, but maybe you can carry just a massive amount of cargo. So all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's really, there's a lot more to this game than I think a lot of people realize. And like I said before, you kind of have to find your own way through the system. So if you're not doing a mission that's taking you to that point where you can buy a freighter, you're never going to find it. Same thing with building a home base. If you're not doing a mission that's helping you get that home base, or you're not intentionally trying to get that home base, you probably wouldn't know how to do it, or you probably wouldn't be prompted to do it, and therefore would never get to experience that part of the game. So I'm not going to show my home base in this walkthrough, but I have a home base, and I've got like a couple of minions that do some work in the home base. So it's, you know, it is what it is. Here my inventory runs out. You know, that's the crux of this game. I really hate when that happens, but basically my ship is damaged right now, and I'm not able to summon it to me. Otherwise I would just summon it, and that's a lot nicer. But when I get to it, it's damaged, and the only thing it needed was some sheet metal, which is all you have to do is find iron, and that's really easy. That's plentiful on the planets, no matter where you're at. That's something that I do think that I appreciate in this game is no matter what planet you're on, if you're stranded on the planet, the resources to fix your ship and get back off the planet are there. Whereas in Elite Dangerous, if you run out of fuel and you're circling a star and there's not someone known as a fuel rats or a friend that's willing to fly out to you and give you fuel, you're gonna die, and that's pretty much the reality of it. So this game doesn't let you do that. You don't die because of random things like that. However, I will say that space combat is sort of arcadey and limited, so there isn't a whole bunch of options. In Elite, you got a plethora of different things you can do to prevent yourself from getting killed, whereas in this game, it's kind of like, you know, what it is what it is. Best luck to you, you know, hope you don't die. And then typically you do die, but space combat in this game is limited, and I find it hard to understand what's going on. This little guy's attacking me. It's annoying. Yeah, I find it hard to understand what's going on, and I do appreciate it when I get a kill. It's satisfying, but a lot of times when I get a kill, I get the resources from the ship that I killed, and my inventory's full, so I lose it, and that's a bummer. But in the other times is, you know, you get in combat and the ship kills you, and then you lose everything, and that's pretty frustrating too, because it's unexpected. Whereas in Elite, you kind of get more of a heads up, I feel like, or you kind of have more ways to avoid the combat entirely, whereas in this game you don't. And that's PvE, that's not PvP. PvP, you have no chance of getting away from people. But yeah, I skeptically excited about the update. I'm hoping that I can find some people to play online with. My brother and the other person who hosts this channel with me is not into space games as much as I am, so he probably won't be buying it and playing it with me, but maybe somebody else I can find to give it a shot with and see how the multiplayer actually works. But the end of this video, I get hurt by something here. No idea what that was. Just random. There's still, you know, you got more surface area in this game than any other game in the history of games, so there's gonna be some weird glitches every now and again. Later on in the same gameplay, not this footage, but in this same gameplay, I actually was trying to land my ship and got caught underneath a structure and somehow ended up being upside down on the planet's surface, and then all of a sudden it just fixed itself and righted the ship. So thought that was interesting, but yep, made it back to my ship after being dropped off on this random planet. This planet's actually pretty nice. If I had planned out better, I probably would have set up a home base here, but hoping to see what the new update brings to us, and looking forward to trying it out, and I'll probably put a video out for it when it comes out. So, well, before I end the video completely, I wanted to show one of the coolest features this game has to offer, and that's, I'm on a planet, I hop in my ship, I face the stars, I boost, and now I'm in space, just like that. And, you know, you're taking off from a fake planet, launching into fake space, and then flying to another planet. But what I find impressive about that is just how quick and seamless it really is. I mean, that's something that he promised in the before the game came out, and Hello Games promised this, and it actually does work every single time. It's always seamless. There's never a load screen. If you want to call it a load screen, the only load screens you're going to get is when you launch the game initially, and also when you jump from system to system, you're getting that teleporter screen, which it's the loading screen is what in reality what it is, but it's cleverly disguised as like hyperspace, so you feel like you're just traveling through hyperspace. But something I find interesting is, and you know, when you're coming up to a planet like this hollow terminus, I don't know why I'm going here, but I'm going here, and you see it, you're flying towards it. Oh cool, it's only 30 seconds away. Well, as you dip down in the atmosphere, your ship goes slower. You can see like units per second on the right there. It's 300, 400, 500. So I dipped down too soon in the atmosphere, and it was going to take forever to get there, so I popped back out into space just for a quick second to go back up to that 2,900 meters per units per second. And then all of a sudden now I'm there in just a few seconds. And I actually love that. It never gets old every time I fly to a new planet. Even with the stupid way they do the color scheme, so you really can't make out what you're looking at. It's kind of hard to see what's going on. It's pretty cool. So here I am landing on another planet. This is actually the scene I was talking about before, where I get stuck underneath this stupid structure. And like, what's happening here? Come on, No Man's Sky. Why can't I fly under things yet? Hopefully they fix that soon. Because that's annoying. It'd be nice to be able to like cruise underneath like a big structure or a big object, and then I'm upside down, and now it just suddenly fixes itself, no problemo. But I thought that was interesting. I wanted to show that before I ended the video completely. And save my point.